When you think of a JRPG, what comes to mind? Games with a colorful cast of characters you learn to love throughout the experience? Turn-based or action combat with flashy moves and an addictive gameplay loop? Or maybe even the compelling and in-depth stories this genre can convey through game design? No matter what your first thought would be, I doubt it would ever be this. But this is actually the best thing ever? Etrian Odyssey is a first-person dungeon crawler developed by Atlas, where you can create teams of up to 5 unique characters and explore various labyrinths. Inspired by the 1980s RPG wizardry, Etrian Odyssey offers up the unique and novel experience of mapping out the dungeons yourself. Paired with turn-based combat and unforgiving difficulty, these games have had a notoriously high barrier to entry. I mean, I've steered clear of them for many years as an outsider looking in. They never seemed like the kind of game I would like, and it'd be way too troublesome drawing a map on top of trying to learn the combat system. But there are two things I've taken away from finally playing the original trilogy. And that is one, these games are not that hard. And two, the extremely laissez-faire approach of this series is what makes it so great in the first place. You won't be bombarded with tutorials. They give you like one map tutorial in the beginning and then you're on your own. It's up to you to customize your path, build your party, and pay close attention to what NPCs say to figure out hidden secrets or enemy weaknesses. Starting with Etrian Odyssey 1, our story begins in the town of Etria. And when I say story, I mean a few cutscenes that play every now and again as you traverse the labyrinth. As a band of new adventurers, your guild is given the task to explore something called the Yggdrasil Labyrinth. Despite claiming the lives of many, swaths of adventurers come for the opportunity to gain fame and fortune. This influx of people is what keeps Etria running, but you get the feeling something more sinister is happening beneath the surface. Etrian Odyssey, despite having a heavy anime aesthetic, is more akin to a D&D campaign as opposed to a full-on JRPG story. Like, there is a plot here, and there are characters that may have reappearances in future titles, but at the end of the day, it's ultimately your story to write. With the first game, you'll have 7 starting classes to choose from, and 2 unlockables as you progress. You can customize the portraits, names, and builds of these characters in any way you wish. Although some classes are clearly better than others, choose a medic, trust me, you can make almost any combination work, leading to parties that feel uniquely your own. This was another point of interest I found from finally giving these games a chance, and that is being forced with the prospect of using my imagination. Instead of just having funny quips and fluff dialogue to fill in the downtime between battles or dungeon crawling, you're just left with yourself and your group of original characters. And also banger music, but we'll get there, don't worry. There are little events you'll come across that will have your characters interact with the environment that usually has a negative outcome, but it's cool to see the kind of personality they instill into your characters to give you a jumpstart on how you might envision them throughout the adventure. It all feeds into this kind of emergent storytelling that I found a nice change of pace from the many story-heavy games I've been playing over the past couple of years. When it comes to combat, it's fairly straightforward. You have a basic attack, defend, and various skills to utilize both in combat and outside of it. While the descriptions can vary in how good a skill is actually, some of the best will often require you to spend SP, or skill points, on multiple abilities before unlocking them. This is also where the boost mechanic comes in, which will take a different form in the subsequent games. In Etrian Odyssey 1, boost will increase the affinity for any chosen action. This will make your attacks hit harder, your defend mitigating more damage, or give skills the ability to perform even better than usual. In Etrian Odyssey 2, it transforms into a force skill, which is basically a kind of super move specific to each class. In Etrian Odyssey 3, we have the limit gauge, which will utilize varying amounts of party members to pull off special moves. In the beginning, it's not a super complex system, but it gets the job done. If anything, the most strategy you'll have to employ will be before your very first fight. All characters come with 3 SP to start and gain 1 every level up. While the level cap does vary from game to game, experience gained will still feel like a slow crawl, meaning you'll have to carefully consider which skills to access in the long term in order to get the best out of your units. If you do mess up on skill allocation, you can always rest your character, but it comes at the cost of losing 5 levels. So yeah, you're going to want to give the skill tree a good look before you just start pressing buttons. This might sound intimidating, but as someone who has never played these games going into it for the first time, I very rarely felt like I shot myself in the foot for choosing the wrong skills. And at the end of the day, the HD collection comes with difficulty options not found in the originals, so you can always just test the waters with basic or picnic modes. Lastly, I just want to touch on how surprisingly chill these games are. I really thought the map drawing would get old, but even when I'm well on my way to beating the last boss of EO3, I still love it. And I think what's really elevating the experience is not only the beautiful and varied designs of these labyrinths, but the fucking music. Dude, so many times I'd find myself stopping just to hear a new battle theme, or humming the next labyrinth theme as I ran away from my inevitable death from an FOE. Get these things away from... And after hearing so many amazing tracks, I just had to find out who was responsible. With a quick search, I discovered fucking Yuzo Koshiro was behind it. This guy worked on East 1 and 2. Explains a lot, that's for sure. It's tough to really put into words, so I gotta share some of the tracks that seriously stuck with me for a minute here. Etrian Odyssey was a treat I never expected, and something I'm planning on seeing through to the end. Right now I'm at the tail end of Etrian Odyssey 3, and I've gotta say it's up there as one of my favorite games now. I might need to give it its own spotlight in the future. Super excited to see what 4 has in store for me too. Out of the trilogy, I'd highly recommend 3 if you don't want to spend an absurd amount of money on the collection. Seriously, what were they thinking? I'm very lucky I got it on sale at the right time, and I'd say you should too. Or you could always use an alternative method. Regardless of what you do, give Etrian Odyssey a try, because there are like 3 people talking about this game and it's a damn shame. If you made it this far, thank you. Leave a comment on which Etrian Odyssey is your favorite so I know which ones to look forward to and which ones to hate. I'm just kidding. I'm half kidding. And feel free to just talk about Etrian Odyssey so I know there are people out there who play these games. Subscribe, as there's a very high chance I talk about these games more in the future. And follow me on Twitch, I might just stream them as well. Until then, peace out.